Are you looking to buy a new compact SUV? For millions of people every year, the answer is yes. But it can be a very confusing process to pick out the right model, which is why we made this video.
We've driven and extensively tested out every compact SUV on the market to cut through the fog of confusion. This is a very large segment, and today we're going to narrow it down to the top 10 SUVs in the class. Let's get to it.
So our expert ranking won't just be based on arbitrary preferences like you find with some other outlets out there. Since we'll be basing our scores on the 10 most important categories to you, the compact SUV shopper. We spent countless hours testing out these models over all types of terrain, checking out their technology, all of their features, and just living with them in general to develop these 10 most important categories, which you can see down below, as well as with some highlighted things that will be considered inside of each category.
Now, first, we will give our objective rankings for the top 9 options in the segment based on these scores, and then we will reveal our number 1 objective pick. Now, after that, we will go on to our driveway picks, which are subjective winners, and then at the end discuss the option that we would not buy in 2026.
There are 14 total options in this segment, so let's jump right into those top 10.
So let's kick off with our number 10 pick in 26. That is the Chevy Equinox. Now, the Equinox is a new product. It was redesigned just last year, and it does well in quite a few categories, as you can see on the screen right now. Namely, its best category is the value under $37,500. It gets a perfect score of 5. That's because you can get pretty much a fully loaded Equinox for that price point, and it has some of the best features at the lower price points as compared to some of the rivals. Additionally, the reliability and resale value is quite good. However, it does have a few flaws, such as the powertrain choices. It only gets a 1.5 in that category just because you have the one engine choice, and it's actually pretty underpowered for this segment.
Next up in our number 9 spot, we have the Mazda CX-50. Its total score is 34.5 points, and you can see that there are some really strong numbers on here, especially those top 3 categories. The luxury and premium feel, those are really, really good with that CX-50 model, and also the powertrain choices. So last year, Mazda added a hybrid version, so that means they have a regular engine, a powerful turbo engine, and a hybrid option, which is why it gets a 4.5 in those categories. One thing, though, that's handicapping this model is the cargo space for sure. That is going to be the lowest in the entire segment.
Now, before we move on to the number 8 pick, I do want to make a note here about the Mazda CX-5. Now, that is going to be fully redesigned for the 2026 model year. However, its availability has been delayed. We have not been able to test it out on the channel. However, we do look forward to testing it out when it goes on sale later next year. We do expect it to be a very competitive option in this segment. But that being said, let's roll into the number 8 slot, which is the Subaru Forester, with an overall score of 35.5 points. Now, talk about a consistent performer. This scores consistently in almost every category. Its lowest score is actually a 3, and it does really well in a lot of different areas. Now, where are those specific areas? Well, reliability resale value gets a 4.5. It also has great active safety, as you would expect from Subaru. The drive experience is also pretty solid with accurate steering while balancing good ride quality. And compared to last time we evaluated the Forester, we've added some additional things which help it to go up the list, such as the hybrid powertrain, as well as some updated technology with that new digital gauge cluster. Those definitely help it in the categories of powertrain choices and technology.
And by the way, if any one of these individual categories is more important to you, you can go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings, and on there you can see a chart and actually sort the models out based on that specific category. But let's get to the number 7 spot, which is the Honda CR-V. This was refreshed for 2026. And you can see in these scores that this is another product that has a lot of strong characteristics. So when we're looking at this, drive experience is definitely something I want to highlight. It has perhaps the perfect balance between handling and ride quality. It's absolutely fantastic for this class of vehicle. Also, you have the expected things from Honda, such as really high resale and reliability rankings, and also the space. really the rivals just have not caught up with Honda in terms of the spacing in this segment. It is absolutely fantastic for the back seats as well as the cargo capacity. The reason why it's maybe not higher than it is on this list is really because of those features. It's definitely missing some key features compared to the rivals that are giving you those, and also it has a pretty high price point as well, even though it has that lack of features.
Yeah, I wish they had added more for the refresh, but it does get slightly better. But trucking along to our number 6 pick, that is the Mitsubishi Outlander. 37.5 points on this model. It is updated for 2026, and talk about a model that has a lot of features. So areas where the CR-V doesn't do well, this Outlander does really quite well. It has a lot of luxury features. It gets a 4 in that category, 4.5 in premium cabin materials. It's a very nice cabin for this segment. Also, we have some updated powertrains this year, and technology has been updated as well, so it gets a 4.5 in that category, and it also has a pretty solid value under $37,500. Now, one area it does fall behind some of the competition is the reliability and resale value. It just gets a 1 in that category, so many of the options on this list will do quite a bit better than that. And we're getting ready to get into the top 5, but first, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we have reviewed over 2,000 vehicles at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from humble to high-end, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. All right, we're back with our number 5 pick, which today is the Nissan Rogue. Our total score is 37.5. And as you can see with this scorecard, there's a lot of 4s and 4.5s on this page. So some of those key things I want to highlight. Well, it does pretty well in the powertrain selections, and that is partially because it added a new plug-in hybrid model. Ironically, that is basically a Mitsubishi Outlander, but if you ignore that fact, you do have a plug-in hybrid option now for 2026 model year. Also, you can see that the space in the rear seats particularly is going to be very good, and you're going to have a lot of features that you maybe wouldn't expect. Another thing that's very important about this Rogue is for 2026, they've improved the price point. So they actually reduced everything down quite a lot, so that value under $37,500 is now going to be a 4 because you can get an SL all-wheel drive, which is going to be quite a lot of nice equipment.
You also can get some hands-free highway driving, which is a class exclusive feature on this list. But things are heating up, and we're moving to our number 4 pick, which this year is the Volkswagen Tiguan. Now, we have to say, this was quite the glow-up type of car. We drove this earlier in the year, and we were like, wow, this is a very impressive product, and its score reflects that. 39 points on this scorecard. Now, where does it do well? Well, it actually gets a perfect 5 in 3 different categories. So what are those categories? Well, the luxury features. You have class-exclusive massaging seats in this, and really there's just a lot of stuff that honestly is straight off of something like an Audi Q5. Premium cabin materials as well gets a perfect score. You have open-pore wood inside of the cabin. It is a beautifully appointed cabin, quilted seats. Rear seats, you also have a ton of space. They've improved the rear legroom. You have 3 zones of climate, heated back seats, all the features you could ever want. And it also gets a 4.5 when it comes to technology. You have a huge 15-inch screen, head-up display, and features like that. Now, the value is also pretty strong at a 4. However, the reliability and resale value are really what handicaps this model, a 0.5 in that category. That is the worst one on this list. So that is something to keep in mind. Volkswagen as a brand is not viewed very highly when it comes to reliability and resale value.
This is where things start to really get real, I think. You know, we're in the top 3. Excited to get into this, and we'll start with the number 3, of course. The Toyota RAV4. This is the all-new RAV4. Our total score here is 39.5. And obviously, this is the kind of elephant in the segment. It's really a dominant force. Toyota sells about 500,000 of these per year, and it definitely ranks very highly with this new generation with a lot of strong categories. So we'll start off kind of at the top there. You can see we have a 4.5 with our luxury features. That's because Toyota is giving you a zillion versions of this new RAV4, and each of those offers a zillion different features. Really anything you could want is going to be available in some of those trim options. Also, as we move down, the powertrain is a really high score. Toyota lost the base engine, so for those of you who really like the gas option, you might be upset about that, but the all-hybrid powertrain options are both really, really good. Definitely above average class power and way better fuel economy than expected in this segment. As we move down through there, the drive experience is also very good, especially if you're looking for something sporty with the GR Sport availability this year. And space is still quite good as well. Rear seats, technology, big improvement with the large display, new gauge cluster. And then lastly, with our great categories, resale and reliability, of course, as a Toyota. Now, the thing that holds the RAV4 back more than anything on this score list is that cabin material quality. This new generation did not improve that. It may have even taken a step back. It's definitely going to be a little bit cheaper for sure than some of the options in this segment.
And it's also certainly not the best value in the segment. The RAV4 has gotten pricey, and we do have official pricing, so about $37,500 would get you an SE all-wheel drive. But onward to our number 2 objective pick. That is the Hyundai Tucson with an overall score of 40.5. You could see that and the RAV4 are pretty close in score. And when it comes to areas where the Tucson excels, it's really most of the categories. Luxury features, you have really premium stuff like head-up display, heated and ventilated seats, heated back seats, premium cabin materials. Unlike the RAV4, we do have a very nice cabin on the Tucson. Powertrain choices, we also have a gas, hybrid, and plug-in hybrid. So if you want a traditional gas setup, the Tucson is going to be a choice for you. Now, the drive experience, it gets a 3.5. Cargo space, it is continually one of the largest options in the segment, scoring a 4 in that category. Rear seats, it's actually the class leader when it comes to rear seat room, and you also have quite a few features like heated back seats. The technology, Hyundai really just does it well. You have the dual screen setup with wireless CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. It does a great job and runs very smoothly. You also have great safety. Really, the lowest category for this model is the reliability and resale value. It is a Hyundai as compared to things like a Toyota or Honda on this list, so it's going to get a 2 in that category. And the value is going to be pretty good for this model at under $37,500. I believe it's a SEL premium trim level with all-wheel drive.
Yep, for sure. And the Tucson was actually the number 1 pick last year, but there's another one that outdid it this year, and we're about to get into that.
But before we get into that, we do want to remind you guys, if you're looking to buy any of the SUVs on this list, to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you should do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool to use while dealership negotiating. If you'd like to take advantage of that, as well as things like our monthly payment tool, you can find a link to that down below in the video description, as well as a pinned comment. But what's our number 1 pick?
It's the refreshed 2026 Kia Sportage. So our total score here is a very impressive 43 points. And I think Kia really is a brand that listens to feedback from experts as well as the consumers really well, because they went through and the adjustments they made for this refresh are really making a significant difference in the overall score and are just definitely responding to the things that people didn't like before. So when we go through this chart, we can kind of start at the top here and go to luxury features. That's giving you a 4.5, and this is where Kia really just gives you basically everything you could ever ask for. They throw it into the Sportage model, and they made improvements to various things this year. Also, of course, you have that premium cabin materials, finish, and stuff like that, which it already had last year. And then the powertrain choices, like the Tucson that we just mentioned, it has the triple whammy because you get a traditional gas option, hybrid option, and plug-in hybrid option, and most of those are available on all the trim levels, so you can even get a low or a high end with those options. As we move down, we can go to the rear seats and cargo space. Both of those are very good. They're super spacious. It's right there next to the CR-V for most spacious in the entire segment. Technology, they totally upgraded the technology setup to give you especially features that you really want, such as wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. A lot of people were upset about that not being there last year. It is there for 2026. And then finally, value at the bottom there is really off the charts. For the $37,500 price point, you'll be able to get an X-Line hybrid all-wheel drive. So that is going to give you an impressive amount of technology and features. We had one on loan a couple years ago of a very similar equipment level, and it really feels like it's fully loaded, except you're at that middle price point that a lot of people are targeting. For all those reasons I just explained, that is why the Kia Sportage is our overall 2026 objective best pick. But as promised, we also want to tell you what models Mason and I would put in our individual driveways based on our personal preferences. So I'll go ahead and start. Based on my personal preferences, I would pick the Mazda CX-50 Turbo. That's because, as a driving enthusiast, I certainly appreciate having the additional power that model gives you, as well as the awesome driving dynamics and the luxury experience. I think that's worth it in terms of the compromise and the small packaging of that model, because I don't have any kids.
Now, on the flip side, I would pick the Volkswagen Tiguan Turbo. This is a car I was super impressed with when we first drove it. The Turbo is even better because it now has the power that we are wanting, and it honestly has the nicest cabin, in my opinion. All the features, it's as nice as something like an Audi Q5 for the money. My only concern with the Tiguan Turbo is the reliability and the resale value. It does score very low on that front, so if I was going to plan to keep the car for maybe 10 years or more, I think I would switch my pick.
And now a new addition this year, we want to give you the do not buy option. So this is going to be the lowest scoring option of the 14 in the segment for 2026, and that is the Ford Bronco Sport. So this is kind of the opposite of the Kia Sportage in the fact that it's not going to be the best all-arounder. There are some reasons you might choose this model, particularly if you want maybe enhanced off-road capability from the dedicated model that's very off-road capable. But otherwise, you're going to be dealing with some packaging and technology quirks that are not present in the other options in the segment.
Yeah, and I would point out that for those of you that really love that off-road focus, you could look somewhere elsewhere, such as the Subaru Forester Wilderness, which does give you a better overall package while still giving you that off-road capability. And guys, that's all for our top 10 compact SUVs in 2026. Hopefully this clarified this very crowded segment. Like we said, a lot of people will be buying in this segment. And the point of us making this video is to provide some clarity to you all who may not know all the options in the segment and certainly don't know some of the best options in the segment. So hopefully you found this helpful. If you did, we'd really appreciate you subscribing down below. We'll be making more of these countdown videos as well as reviewing all of these individual models on the channel, so you won't want to miss out. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.